to everyone that has not already been in the meeting. Great to have you here. We're just going through housekeeping items first of all, so put yourself on mute if you're not already on it. We're just going to send out everyone's contact details afterwards, so you don't need to worry too much about it. This is being recorded, so please don't say anything that you don't wish to be in the public domain. It's all going to be out there and on YouTube, so you should be able to look for yourself, cut it up if you want to be able to showcase your own startup. As I say, please stay on mute unless you're asking a question, so unmute yourself so we can all hear you. As you can see, we're using Google Meet this time within Workplace. Google have stepped up their game. They have more functionality. We can present in different ways. We can record. It will capture all your details, etc. This is really cool to be able to use the technology that we feel more familiar with. It doesn't have the same functionality as Hopin or Remo that we've used before, so there aren't any breakout rooms. You can do that at the end. I can juggle it a little bit, but it's not quite the same. We really want to have these people in front of you so that you can break out in the future and have one-on-one meetings with them. Okay, so when startups are presenting, you can press the Shapes button on the bottom right of your screen. Okay, it's a little triangle on top of a square on top of a circle. There are questions there and you can upvote or downvote, but write in the question, and the most popular questions we will pose to the startups at the end of their presentation. Okay, we haven't arranged a speaker this time because I think every time before we've really wanted to focus on these startups more than presenting to you investors. Your time is precious, so we want to crack through them. There'll be a short break after the first 7 presentations, and we'll hopefully finish a little bit early, give you back some time. Again, we'll have this all sent to you afterwards. There'll be a brochure which covers the whole post-event, and also the video of the event, which you can watch at 1.5 or whiz through the ones you're not as interested in. Okay, so this is the agenda. This is in BST. Okay, so British summertime. If you're in CEST, then please add an hour to it, but we're just doing some opening remarks, tell you a bit about what we're doing with the community. Then we'll go through the pitches 1 to 7. We'll have a 5-minute break, and then we'll go through the final pitches. Then we'll have a couple of closing remarks, and then if you want to meet up, I can break you into breakout rooms. It's not something that we do so much in the UK, but definitely open to it. So send me a message via the chat button on the bottom right if you'd like to meet up with anyone directly, or we can just set things up if you need people's details. Okay, so let me introduce you to the team who have set this up. This is the European Xoogler Demo Day organizing team. Stefan, who's on here looking after making sure that everybody's able to get into the event. He's run several demo days in Switzerland over the years, and his personal network of people that are starting up companies and funding companies, etc., has brought many of today's startups. We've got a really good Swiss cohort this time. I think in London there's a lot of demo days going on, so a lot of them have been scooped up, but it's really interesting to see what's coming out of there. Ring, you probably all know, he has been our stalwart. He's Xoogler godfather for EMEA. He got me on board and he's got me doing all the events in the community, etc. He's wonderful. Do reach out to him if you need any help. Ashna has been fantastic pulling things together in the background. She's worked with Xooglers in the States. She's now living in London. She's now graduating into working in her own capital investment company as well. So well done, Ashna. Vanessa, she joins us from DeepRound. She's connecting a lot of dots, overseeing technical stuff, branding projects, getting us our logos sorted, and our websites, etc. Really, really cool. New on this list is Ben Laurie, who has been pivotal for us. He's really awesome at focusing on the technical aspects, something that was missing within our team. So he's providing technical advisory skills, and it's great to have you on board, Ben. Furthermore, I'd like to thank a couple of people that have really helped the startups this time, Tracy Pereira and Christian Wancha, who have provided pitch practice for many of these startups, really just to ensure that they can showcase their skills efficiently for you here today. Okay, so with so much capital investment available for tech post-pandemic, and I hope I can say post-pandemic, I hope it's not here to stay, our Xoogler goal in 2021 has been to create a regional ecosystem of support. So we wanted to have support, connection, training, drawing on the incredibly talented Xoogler community, but also from outside it. But we hold events like this, and we're now ready to launch a much awaited Xoogler to Xoogler skill sharing database. So there's a lot of different connections. We want to make sure that everything is joined up. If you feel you can be part of that, or you can help in any way, do reach out to us. We're always interested in having help. We're all volunteers here, and we want to make sure that we're sharing the load and making the most of any of the skills that we have in this community. Okay, so the Xoogler entrepreneurs. I'd like to thank all of these Xooglers who are presenting here today. They've done so much hard work, not only to build their companies, but to present them here effectively and efficiently for you as well. So if you know of any other companies founded by Xooglers, we don't know them all. We're always surprised at ones that come out of the woodwork. Please do let us know. We'd love to support and encourage them and connect them to other people doing the same sort of stuff. Or folks that you would like to work with them. Sometimes those people want to work in startups and they just don't know where to start. We love to connect these people and make it all work out. So just let us know. Don't hesitate to reach out and send me an email. So our Xoogler community has grown and grown, and we wanted to create this community where folks could connect each other. They can't always come via me or Rune or Ashna or whatever. They should be able to just connect to each other. So we've worked with 2 Xoogler startups, Polymer and also Superlinked, who's presenting today. They will database Xooglers who want to opt in, harnessing LinkedIn profiles. And then they can either proactively reach out to people themselves with special skills. If you need a lawyer, you need a recruiter, you need someone that has similar ways of working to what you're used to. Then you can do knowledge sharing, problem solving, hiring, etc. If you want to be super linked, this is a more active way of ensuring that people with similar skills can be connected and can reach out to each other and socialize. So it's kind of a social network as well. So we're hoping that that will work out. It's an opt-in service, and you can be as active or proactive on it as you want. But it's really good to connect people and really make sure that the support is there. We'll include in the afternoon, or sorry, the after show brochure, the links for this so that you can get involved. I know there's a few ex-Googlers who are investors as well now as well, but if you want to send them out to people, it's really good to infuse this ecosystem with new faces and new skills. So since we're all volunteers and investing so much of our time in these startups, we figured we would also support the financial investments as well. So I know there's a lot of people that know a lot more about investing than we do, but we've been having a little play and getting to know how to invest in companies and how to make things more simple for these startups. So we're building out our own syndicate. We've done a few deals so far. We're harnessing Vauban, which is another Xoogler startup, as its wealth container. So it helps to clean up. It helps to clean up the cap table for early startups. Quite often they want to focus on building their business, not on worrying about the financial aspects. So that really helps them when they're chasing a myriad of angels and wire transfers, etc. So hopefully we can do that in the background. But of course, we're only one of many, many investment options for all these companies. Stefan's been really cool in arranging angel investment training as well for some of the hundreds of Googlers and Xooglers who have some pretty good Google equity that seems to be doing very well at the moment. Then we provide strong Xoogler deal flow for them to engage with. So they can invest in companies that they understand, oftentimes people they know, and often providing engineering and marketing advice on top of their finance. So it really is smart money and has become quite circular. Okay, so hiring and growth, one area, again, that we found needed increasing support, particularly in this candidate-driven market. Small startups don't always have the knowledge of how to hire or the reach of where to find people, and it can become really expensive. So here at the Xoogler to Xoogler network, it's really helpful to be able to work with companies that need to be pulling together and I suppose using advisors as much as hiring people as well. I'm happy to connect companies to my fellow staffing professionals and even provide some executive search support is really just to support and turbocharge the Xoogler community's ecosystem to make it stronger, better, faster, and hopefully get these companies really off the ground. Okay, so who's in the room today? I've been blown away again. Always, there's just so much going on. We've had almost 400 investors signing up. Most of them say they want to see the brochure. They might not be able to come today, which is why we video record this so we can send it out and they can watch it faster. But this also says something about the current state of the market. There's such an appetite for startups to solve all the new issues we find. The post-COVID Brexit world, it's certainly got a lot of problems that need to be solved. So which startups are going to be taking off? What problems are going to be solved? And are we going to provide some of the green shoots of recovery for the next year? Okay, so we didn't have enough room on this slide for everyone's logos. This is all the investors. But there's some pretty big funds here being represented. What I love as well is that there's so many angel investors that are interested in the companies and that actually come from Google as well. So it's really cool to have such a varied mix and a lot of diversity as well. Okay, so the presenting startups that we have. Now, this is really small and you probably can't read it. I will send it out in the brochure, but this is basically the running order of who you're going to be seeing. You can also see this if you press the small I in a circle on the bottom right of your screen. You'll see all the different companies and their links to their websites. This again will go out with the brochure afterwards, so you'll have a look at it. There is such a variation of different companies coming from different areas, whether it's food, whether it's finance. There are so many things. I'm sure there'll be something that you'll be interested in, if not all of them. Okay, these are the logos. Check out the ones that you're going to be seeing in the future. These are all going to become household names, right? Okay, so these are some of the demo day successes from the last few years. You probably recognize a few of them. They've gone on to be well funded and growing really, really nicely. And just to throw some data around this, there's some really cool ones. Dataform, obviously, a UK team. I know them. We hired them into Google, a cloud analytics company. They were acquired then by Google at the end of last year and doing incredibly well. It's really nice when you can see that sort of full sweep happening. Pointy, an Irish company, they were presented at Xoogler Demo Day at about 2017. They were then sold back to Google for 163 million. So they did okay. That was pretty cool. Companies like Mathagon, Subly, No Magic, Fit, these are absolutely growing and burgeoning. In the Switzerland market, we've got Daedalian, which is Swiss flight tech. I know a lot of the people in there, they're doing incredibly well. You've got Twiggle in Israel, you've got Allegro in Israel as well, and the Pest Pulse, that's another Irish one. That was acquired in 2019. So they're doing incredibly well. This is a really rich vein of talent. So watch out for the next ones. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you for coming. I hope you really enjoy the rest of the day. And I want to say welcome to the teams. The first one that we have coming up here is peak profiling. We have Claudio Hassler, who will be talking to you about his about the health tech company that they've been building based in Berlin.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Claudio.
Good, so I'll share the tab.
Yes, I will. Get them done. And if everybody wants to look at the questions on the side, press the shapes to the right on the bottom, and then go to Q&A. You can see I've put a question at the top, then Arto. Hi, Arto. Glad you got in. Okay.
Here we are. Sorry, a bit of a technical hiccup signing in, but here I am. All eyes and ears.
Brilliant. Good to have you here. Okay, Claudio, you ready to go?
Good. Thanks for the invitation. My name is Claudio Hassler. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Peak Profiling. We are up to detecting 500 diseases from the voice and become a Shazam for health. If you look at medical treatment today, it typically happens too late. About 35% of all premature death could be avoided with a timely treatment. The solution is passive monitoring from the voice. Your devices in the future will tell you, based on how you speak, you are at risk of having disease XYZ. Today, we have algorithms for 9 diseases and a pipeline with 26 indications. And we believe the full potential of this is more than 500 diseases. We tackle the market in 3 phases, starting B2B. B2B means we are building custom voice solutions for telemedicine, pharma, and others, and that market is more than $1 billion. The next phase will be a B2B2C phase, which is certified medical devices that are used by doctors and clinics, and that market is more than $4 billion. The market will then move to a D2C phase, but that will be later. We have strong validation, and we do have sufficient revenues to fund the B2B phase we've just discussed. Moreover, we do have big data. So specifically, we have unique IP from 3 decades of research. We have strong clinical validation from, for example, studies with up to 1,000 patients with Charité. We have significant revenues, we have strong brand visibility. We even made it into Nature magazine, which was really cool. And we do have the biggest data sets in the field to our knowledge. That data, that big data, we want to tap, and we want to prepare for the next phase, which is the B2B2C phase. And for that, we're looking for a 3.2 million euro convertible loan, and then we will do a full financing round. With that money, we will be able to create voice algorithms on scale, achieve regulatory approval for one disease as a blueprint for all diseases, and launch the commercial preparations for the next phase. The team has a broad range of competences. We have more than 80 years of accumulated research experience. More than half of the team is on PhD level, and we have vast commercial experience. If you want to have a voice in this, contact me on claudiohassler@peakprofiling.com. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thanks, Claudio. I don't think people have worked out how to use their questions yet on the right-hand side of the screen, but I was actually interested to know what sort of competitors there are in the market, whether there's people that have done this before and whether it's been seen to work.
Sure, there are always competitors. Hopefully there are competitors. There's a long answer, we could just discuss this, but there's also a short answer. We have most technical experience in the field, and we also believe that we have most data. So this is basically
Excellent.
the short answer for this.
I have George who would like to ask a question verbally. So fire away, George.
Yes, thank you, Jenny. Thanks, Claudio. You mentioned 500 diseases. What is the big ecosystem of diseases? Are we talking of tens of thousands, or when you say 500, it will be covering how many out of? Thank you.
It's a good question. I actually I don't have a figure for all the diseases. What I can tell you is that if you look at, I have to see what I can tell, but if you look at a clinic, we can, or at a normal doctor, we can typically, in 30% of all cases that walk in, something is involved that we can solve. And that doesn't mean that this is now the case exactly, but this person in 30% of all cases would have something that we would be able to detect. I think that gives a good picture of how broad this can actually go. We're not there yet, but this is really where the whole field can go in the future. Jenny, I think you're on mute. At least I don't hear you.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you so much. We will ensure that everybody gets your deck so that they can see your details. And if you have any questions for Claudio, feel free to reach out to him. He'll have his Calendly and his email address on there. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so Ingrid Dina. Ingrid is the co-founder and CEO of Nomi. And Nomi it's an innovating next generation fermentation technology company, and it's accelerating this green shift by creating affordable, nutritious, delicious foods at scale from the untapped potential of fungal microbes. So yes, do you want to talk about that? I'm sure you know more than I do, Ingrid.
Yes, please. Thank you, Jenny. That sounded very complicated. Hopefully I'm going to make it a bit clearer in this presentation.
Perfect.
But I want to start on a serious note. We all know what trouble our planet is in. Time is running out and business as usual is not an option anymore. And that's why we started EMEA, and we want to develop, work on the most pressing global challenges we're facing. Firstly, within the overproduction and consumption of plastics. And secondly, with our unsustainable food system. So we are already overexploiting our natural resources, and we need new, innovative and disruptive technologies in order to feed our growing population. We are looking to nature and to the underexplored and invisible world of fungi, everything happening below ground. And we're working with the biggest and oldest organism in the world that has existed on this planet for 1 billion years to create and grow materials and foods instead of making them chemically. We're able to replace styrofoam and mineral wool with a product that has the same properties, but is 100% biodegradable in nature. And we already have clients working with us making these products. We're also innovating, creating a whole new category of foods. And we want to make products that have the same nutrition and the same delicious taste as meat. Because if we're going to create a significant shift in this field, we need to convince the meat eaters, the $2 trillion market, that they're going to eat more healthy for themselves and for the planet. We've spent this year innovating and doing the R&D, and we've now developed an MVP and a pilot for the biomaterials, and we're going to have it for the foods by the end of the year. And we've had a great set of angel investors working with us in this phase and backing us. 2022 is the next phase of EMEA. We're going to move into bigger facilities, a bigger lab, but also production facilities. And we need a bigger team to be able to deliver on these goals. So hence, we're looking for about 2 million euros, which will give us about a 2-year runway to cover this. We're a pretty unique team with more than 40 years of experience within leadership, business, science, biotech, policy, and also from the culinary side. But in order for us to succeed, we need a very passionate and dedicated team with the right skills. And we need value-aligned investors who want to help us on this mission on making the world a bit greener. So if you want to know more, please let me know. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ingrid. That was brilliant. What an interesting area. So we have a couple of questions here. Which providers or logos do you currently work with or sell to?
So we're working on the biomaterials side. We're working with Snøhetta, which is one of the leading architectural firms globally, actually, and Ernst & Young Doberman, on delivering and innovating on the future interior design for offices. So that's our starting point, but we're looking at other areas as well. And when it comes to food, we're talking to many of the biggest food producers. We haven't committed to any yet, but we're working on developing the white spaces and seeing what areas we want to go into there.
Very cool. George, you had your hand up again. Did that cover it, or?
So yeah, thank you. No, just wanted to understand the ecosystem of competitor, because I feel this is a sector where we hear a lot in most of the location in Asia, in the United States, and Europe. So just to see like where is your edge and where are the differences we'll be creating over time. So it's quite challenging in this segment. Thank you.
I definitely think it's a challenging segment, but it's a very hot segment because we really need companies innovating in this space, and especially on the food side. We're going to be 10 billion people by 2050, and we need to feed these people more sustainably. So we are going to need a lot of companies working on this. But food tech is very hot. Mycelium is still pretty new and use of fungi, but it's becoming very hot as well. So we need to make sure that we can differentiate ourselves from the Nordic markets, but of course, working internationally by having the best tech, the best people, and the best partnerships. I think that's really how we can differentiate ourselves in the market.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. Incredible.
Thank you
So,
for the attention.
thank you. Any more questions for her, you'll have to email or send them to me and we can get them answered. So Nina van Valkenburg. Nina is the co-founder and CEO of Retour. Now, this is an ecosystem for sustainable fashion, and she can run you through how this works and how they're going to grow over the next few years.
Thanks, Jenny. Hopefully this works. Great. Hi, everyone. Fashion should not cost the earth. And as a response to the climate emergency and to seize the growing demand in ethical purchasing, we at Retour are building a global ecosystem for sustainable fashion benefiting people and planet. I'm Nina van Valkenburg, and as an ethnographer, I've spent my career researching how the fashion industry is evolving. Together with our team, which boasts substantial knowledge and experience in tech development, we have the skills, but more importantly, the drive for disrupting fashion consumption for better. Despite fashion being one of the most damaging industries on the planet, current practice also doesn't make business sense. For example, $500 billion of garment value is being thrown away every year. The solution for keeping garments out of landfill is based upon co-creation, clean tech, and the principles of circular economy. This is exactly what we are doing at Retour. We launched as the world's first fashion upcycling platform where you can give your old garments a new lease of life by working directly with a fashion designer, such as in my case, having transformed my grandmother's dress into a pair of trousers. Together with our ethical fashion marketplace, which is in line with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and community-based sustainable clothing app, we are providing the fundamental accessibility and choice required for modern ethical consumption. Since launching less than 1 year ago, we have grown our design community to over 70 creators, have gained over £8,000 in designer revenue, and are recognized as leaders in sustainable fashion. One example is being invited to launch our first physical space at Selfridges Oxford Street here in London for 5 weeks this summer. To build on our momentum and capitalize on the £11.7 billion sustainable fashion e-commerce market, we are currently raising our seed round of £500,000 over a runway of 18 months. We are redefining the future of fashion and would look forward to working with innovative forces for good, passionate about ESG and circular economy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nina. Really interesting company. Does anyone have any questions about how it works or how it might be growing? You can either put them into the chat.
I'm putting the contact details as well in the chat, just in case.
Fantastic, that's really helpful. We'll send them out afterwards as well. We'd love to know more, but there's definitely been some incredible sustainable clothing companies have done very well over the last few years. And this is really another niche and a step forward. Thank you so much. Oh, George has a question. Would you like to go ahead?
Yes, again, a very, very good question. I think it's definitely an impressive sector. But the challenge in this sector is very dependent on the government and regulation for the user to embrace it. How do you look at this in terms of timeline compared to what you are raising to really buy time and then get this done over maybe years to come? Thank you.
Sure. So we're focusing on the UK market at the moment. And one of the big issues, not just garments going into landfill, is the saturation of design talent. So for example, in the UK alone, there's 4,000 fashion design graduates each year and about 500 jobs. So there's a lot of talent that's actually not being, used the way it should be. So if we can work with, for example, the British Fashion Council, universities, the UK boasts fantastic fashion universities, and really seeping into that talent and connecting them with the everyday consumer, but also when we think about a B2B context in terms of that leftover product, that can actually really create some opportunities. And just to follow up as well, in terms of our marketplace, the consumer is looking for sustainable goods, but they're only stumbling upon them on social media. But if we can really connect with these smaller SMEs, focusing on sustainable practice, that's where that scalability can happen. And we're looking really over the next 18 months to gain that scale.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nina.
Thank you, Jenny.
Yes,
Thanks, George.
look in notes and in chat, and you can see her Calendly if you'd like to have a chat. So next up is a company called Pan Privacy. We have Frank Thomas, who will be presenting this. He is the CMO and co-founder, and the company is a robo-advisor empowering people to own their privacy and control their personal data. I can see the slide just coming up. Welcome, Frank.
Thank you, Jenny.
There we go.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you for having us today. Very happy to be with you indeed today. My name is Frank Thomas, and Mark, Manuel, and myself, we co-founded Pan Privacy. Okay. The founding team has a cumulative 55 years of experience. We across tech, software development, marketing, and finance. Simon, our professor of law, is our resident expert on anything regulatory, any aspect, legal aspect on privacy. As professionals, as citizens as well, we grew overly concerned about the treatment of privacy. And actually, we're not the only ones thinking that. Indeed, almost 9 out of 10 people are getting worried about privacy. That is totally understandable, since there are plenty of stories out there about misuse of data. We have those cookie banners we click away, and privacy policies that, to be honest, we accept without reading. So there is a willingness to act. Lack of time, lack of knowledge, complexity, though, get in the way of doing something. So there must be a better way indeed. So we're on a mission. We're on a mission to develop Pan as a user-friendly solution, which helps users exert complete control on their privacy across all the services they use and all their devices in as few clicks as possible from one single place. So if you want to disable face recognition across all your social networks, we can do that. Check. Pan Privacy does that. Do you want the data to avoid the data sharing of your personal information across sites? We got you. We can also do that for you. So how does it work in practice? We did our development in-house. We produced the world's first personalized privacy score, which comes complete with custom insights and recommendations. From those insights, users can act and immediately set 80 individual privacy settings across 5 major services, and more on the way. Extending that vision, we want users to be able to determine how their data is used by companies. Something simple as deleting or editing your personal data feels overly complicated today. So we also want to solve that in the future. Privacy protection is a fast-growing market, still largely untapped and ripe for monetization. So we chose a subscription-based model and target 7 million users on a freemium basis and a 30 to 50 million in revenues by 2027. Just for reference, another app in the same space reached 1 million users to date, with a subset of them paying 15 euros per month for privacy protection. So we think there is indeed willingness to act and to pay. We bootstrap this into, We bootstrap this into a first marketable solution. So a few hundred users already tested the app. By the way, you can download it yourself and see for yourself. We're now pitching to investors, and we're seeking €500,000 in seed money to develop the tech and grow the user base. So we are looking for investors, but not only. We want people who share our vision. We want to find good advisors and power users to help us construct the best solution out there for anyone in the market looking for privacy protection. If you want to be part of this mission, we will be very happy to meet, either remotely or in beautiful Zurich, where the company is based. And we will be taking questions, if any.
Thank you, Frank. That's really good. I think everyone's a little concerned or worries that they're a little concerned about their privacy. I don't know what it's going to be like for our kids next. I'm wondering if Ben Laurie's on here, whether he has any questions for you about how you've pulled things together, or George perhaps has a couple. I can see you there.
I see questions on the board too.
Ah, yes, right. So does PAN enable you to see violations of privacy? For example, my email was leaked by Facebook some time ago. My goodness.
All right. So indeed, we look at privacy. Well, security and privacy do intersect, but we're not looking at privacy from a security standpoint. So we're not looking at violations so much as violations as potential for things that would be at risk. So if you share, things like face recognition data, or if you share location data, those things are personal data. Those are personal data points. Of course, we always have in the back of our minds the ability or the possibility that this data will be leaked. But this is not the focus of PAN. In the first place, we're looking at protection, because the first line of defense is first to elevate bigger walls and to be able to only share what you feel comfortable sharing. And by the way, if you have kids, obviously, they may or may not be aware of what's at stake when sharing location data or sharing any personal data. So you can also extend the same comment about the risk implied with personal data to close relatives, to loved ones. Obviously, this is also beyond security in this case.
Absolutely. Thank you. George?
Yeah, I think it's a fascinating topic to think about. It's just an observation. I feel today we got used to it. Like literally everyone knows the issue, and I think we got used to it. We became addicted to it, and at the end of the equation, say, and so what is the issue? So I think the challenge is how can you convert this willingness to pay, knowing that today you have so many membership and then certain commitment with so many other social media or other stuff. So that's, for me, it's like a big question always in the future. And in fact, it reminds me one of your former colleague, James Williams. He won a interesting prize called the 9 Dots Prize, and he wrote his book, Stand Out of Our Light, really talking about this specific topic and then how we really became part of our life. So that's my question, more philosophically, how you can convert this into real practice. And I'm happy to follow up separately later. Thank you.
Very happy to. So thank you, George, for the question. We consider ourselves to be in the right spot, in the right time, because as you said, privacy questions about privacy are ubiquitous. We have stories in the news. We have, well, obviously, 60 Minutes did a great show on this very topic less than a week ago. So we have definitely more and more people are feeling like they should be aware, and they are also in the position to act. So if you look at growth trends for privacy-friendly services, something as ubiquitous as a search engine, we know there are search engines out there that are having this discussion right now, and they made this focal point of their service to be about privacy. There are social networks, there are messaging apps, obviously many features and products really target the people who are conscious and ready to act and ready to pay. So we are in this sweet spot, and we think at the right time. Philosophically, we we envisage this to be not a confrontational move. We're not acting against the big tech, the people, the services that rely on data. Rather the contrary, we want the user to be in the driving seat, because the alternative is disengagement. If the users are, feeling that they are not in control, the risk is that they leave the service or use less of that service. So we don't think that whataboutism is an issue. Rather than contrary, if we tell the users like, yeah, this is a latent low intensity risk, and we say, hey, by the way, you can do this and forget about that risk or be in the comfort zone about that risk, at least we made something very useful for that user. We think peace of mind has a lot of value for yourself, for the close relatives, obviously. We think there's essentially on the B2C space, because I see there's a question about the B2C space, we think there's definitely room to grow, to appease and to establish peace of mind for many, many users of those famous services that you have in mind.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Frank. We're going to have to move on because we've only got 5 minutes each company, but there's a lot of interesting questions there, so I'm sure people will be able to email. Thank you so much.
Yeah, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll send out the details, and you're not so private you can't be reached out to. Okay, Alfredo, you're up next. Alfredo Siederman. He has a company called Viatu. He's the CEO and founder. This is a company that makes sustainable travel accessible for everyone. So I can see your slides up there. Alfredo, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Loud and clear.
Fantastic. Well, Jenny, thank you so much for the introduction, and it's lovely to be back at Google. As Jenny mentioned, my name is Alfredo. I'm the CEO and founder of Viatu, a website that allows you to book your complete sustainable trip with ease. Now, we all know the pandemic has put a huge spotlight on over-tourism and massively increased our need for sustainable travel options. However, the problem is that booking a sustainable trip currently is super slow, non-transparent, and very inconvenient. Basically, you only have two options. Either you do it yourself, spend weeks researching, open countless tabs, you know it, and still don't have any guarantee that the trip makes sense or is sustainable. Alternatively, you do it with a brick-and-mortar traditional travel agency, and you spend over 2.5 weeks on average on the phone. All the while, it's slow, expensive, and non-transparent. We know that because as a team, we've previously built one of Africa's largest tour operators. Now, our team, with a combined 20 years of work experience in travel and tech, have come up with a completely different solution to address this problem. We have created an integrated trip builder that lets you book complex, sustainable trips with confidence, as simple as ordering an Uber. How does it work? Well, our website offers trip templates that are vetted by experts so that you as a traveler can customize safely to your liking. For instance, by adding a car, extending your stay, booking extra experiences, all automatically online and in one place. We do this with a radically green approach in all aspects of our operations, from the destinations we serve, from the partners we contract, and the travelers we serve. We have already launched in our MVP market in Namibia, a market that our team is very familiar with, and have recently started our expansion to South Africa with more markets to follow. The worldwide serviceable addressable market for our product is an estimated $200 billion. So far, we have previously raised over 300,000 in pre-seed funding, which has given us the speed to produce a fully functional beta that is now live for the last 3 months. And on our platform, we have already onboarded over 300 sustainable partners with flexible cancellation terms, giving us an edge in this uncertain travel environment. And despite the pandemic, we have already generated over $70,000 in revenue with almost no marketing whatsoever. We're seeking $1 million in seed funding to expand into new markets, to acquire customers, and of course, refine our tech product over the next 15 months. We have already $500,000 committed by our US-based lead investor and looking to close the round next month. I'm looking forward to hearing your questions and changing the travel industry with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alfredo. That was really slick. I love the slides, and such a great time to be bringing sustainability back to travel. Everybody's keen to get out there, but feels a little bit guilty. I've left Christian Wanch's question up from the last time because there's the what is your user acquisition strategy? How can you grow fast? How can you build so that this is scalable?
Right. There are a couple of ingredients, and one, of course, is directly related to this audience. We of course would like to accelerate our marketing by using some of parts of these funds. We were previously one of Africa's largest spenders at Google, and so we know really well how to scale digital campaigns. But in addition, also we have generated countless websites previously and generated a lot of organic traffic. So we know the digital space and digital travel space really well, because over the past 5 years, we've spent millions of dollars acquiring customers, and we have all those little nuggets between content, paid advertising, and social media figured out really well.
Fantastic. Okay, does anyone else have any questions? It's quite a straightforward concept. It just takes a lot of work to pull it together. I know Google's trying to do some of this itself as well, but it really takes people on the ground in Africa to be able to do it well. George, quick
question. I think it's a very highly competitive segment. Is it good to have, or is it a must-to-have application?
An app?
I mean, the business model.
Excuse me, I didn't 100% get whether we need to have an app or whether we know.
No, I said the business model today, is it good to have, or is it a must to have in terms of disruption?
I think there's two ways. Like, there are gonna be people that are still gonna book in a very traditional way, and those are tend to be people that seek that extra hand-holding and want to visit places with someone on the phone all the time. And then there's a growing market of, we call them conscious travelers, typically millennials, and people that seek and are used to digital solutions like Booking.com and Airbnb, but want to have the certainty that if they go to more adventurous markets, that their trip makes sense and the investment is in good hands. And so that is where we come in and build the trip that also is vetted by experts and makes sense. It's not just a loose combination of services, but actually is a meaningful itinerary that you can feel safe with, and you can all book it in one place. So that is kind of like the magic that we bring together. Because yes, you can go to Booking.com or Airbnb and individually book your services, and that works well for Paris, but it really doesn't work well for Namibia, South Africa. If you go to Patagonia or to Southeast Asia, it starts to become really, really difficult.
I recently reviewed a company called the Trip Boutique in Switzerland. And I think I don't know if you know their business model. They do a little bit the same things, but on top, they come up with massive recommendation really to build your trip, everything online. So that's the reason I said it's highly competitive.
Yeah, yes, and with this specific regards, is a traditional tour operator, right? So once you land on the trip, you have a suggestion, and that suggestion still forces you then to enter a consultation process that takes weeks. That's what we've been doing actually for over 5 years. Now, our approach is to connect APIs from different services that we contract directly ourselves. So in our business model, you don't ever have to talk to someone at all. You can book something right on the spot, completely online, without ever needing that extra step that takes weeks on our side.
Fantastic. Right, I'll have to stop you there. We've got a deadline.
Sure.
We have a few more to come up. Thank you so much, Alfredo. It's been really interesting.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So next up we have Ilya Kulikov. Ilya Kulikov has built an electric bike marketplace. He's the founder and the CEO, and he will present that now.
Thank you for your introduction, Jenny.
Thanks so much. Take it away.
I would like to start with a small personal story. So I'm based in Dublin, Ireland, and about 5 years ago, I bought my first electric bike in a local retail shop, and I got to be friends with the owner who actually sold me the bike. I've been working in online ads sales at Google, and we started to partner together. So I was able to bring in about 5,000 leads and converted a lot of this leads into sales. I noticed a few problems on the market currently. So two main ones are that it's hard for like first-time buyers to choose an electric bike. There are 50+ premium brands and hundreds, if not thousands, of dealers. Amazon doesn't cover much of this category, and specs are rather hard to understand. On the other hand, dealerships are shifting online and looking to get more sales, and it's rather hard for them if you're not a pro in online ads. So solution for these problems is electric bike marketplace, a place where users can find, compare, sell or buy electric bike and discuss as well. We launched an MVP with a comparisons functionality based on good technologies like Next.js for the front end and Django for the back end. So long story short, it works fast and it's ready to scale and add more functionality to it. So we have more than 350 electric bikes currently there from 50+ brands. Our main market is US and Canada, valued currently at about like 1 billion. Potentially we could expand to UK, Australia. So we launched 2 months ago through Reddit. You can see on the right, we got some positive feedback from users, and we also optimize heavily on to like Google Organic. So again, on the right, you can see some traffic is getting more accumulated. So this is all without a blog, by the way. So our current conversion rate into outbound leads is more than 9% based on 500+ completions. And ask is we want to raise about 100K to expand this functionality of comparison website into actual marketplace where users can authenticate, where they can buy, sell bikes, discuss them, and we would need to implement the partner network, which is AvantLink. The other part of what we need to do is we need to get more traffic, and for that we plan to make a content hub. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, happy to answer.
I like the QR code. That's a great idea. Fantastic. So people can actually just contact you. That's brilliant. I like the Google Analytics as well. The use of that's really cool, just to see what sort of uptake you're getting. I'd love to know a little bit about whether there are competitors, because there's obviously marketplaces for cars and holidays or whatever. I haven't seen one for bikes, and you know,
there is one.
Electric bike, right? Yeah, are there others?
99spokes.com. They cover traditional bikes and electric bikes, and we want to focus on electric bikes. So 99 Spokes like launched maybe a year ago, and now they have about 2 million sessions per month, mainly from US and Canada.
Fantastic. George, any pointers?
Thank you. I'm fine. It's very clear. Thank you.
Thanks.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Ilya. All the details will be sent out to everyone, and I think we're all going to be getting electric bikes next year. Fantastic. Right, we have now Oliver Petrus. It's the last one before a short break. This is Zilly, his company, and he turns busy parents into happy parents. A wonderful app that I am definitely going to download as a busy mum of 3. So thank you, Oliver.
Thank you so much, Jenny, and thank you everyone for dialing in. We're Zilly, a super app for super parents. So parents want more time to do what they love and value, but they do life admin instead. In fact, 60 hours of life admin per parenting couple per month. And they do all this work with really bad tools. In fact, half of parents rely only on their messaging app to run their entire family life. And this is not working. 1 in 2 moms and dads are burned out. And we believe that with the right technology combined with human support, you can get your weekends back. This is why we integrated shared reminders, shared notes, and shared calendar, all the tools you need to run your household into a family-only messaging app, making it super easy to be on top of things. We're also offering unlimited support from a trusted personal assistant for you and your family for a monthly subscription, so you can outsource some of that pesky life admin. We're weeks away from hitting the app stores. We've done plenty of research, talked to dozens of parents, surveyed hundreds. We're doing a family assistant free trial for a set of families through WhatsApp, and the app is looking better every day. We're focusing on a large services market that we want to approach through this assistant offering. And the way we want to attack this market is by first focusing on high-earning working parents in London, and then expanding outwards to top cities in the US. I am an ex-Google marketer. My co-founder is an ex-Facebook engineer, and together we combine 20 years of experience building and scaling tech products. We're raising a 200K pre-seed from angels to polish the product and successfully get to market. We would love to talk to you. My email is oliver@zilli.app. My calendar is up there. Yeah, happy to hear your questions. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thanks, Oliver. What made you start this kind of company? Was there a specific problem that you had that you're trying to solve, or was there another reason?
So it's an interesting story. So a lot of my friends were becoming parents, and all of them were struggling. I started wondering, why is that? So I thought, well, I need to dive into this. So I moved in with a bunch of friends who had a 3-year-old kid, just to learn what it's like day to day to be a parent. So for 4 months, I lived in a tiny room with them. And I emerged out of that experience just absolutely shocked and thinking technology has failed us in one of the most fundamental missions in our lives, which is being good parents. And we need to do something about it. And that sent us down this spiral of researching and exploring and building solutions to this problem that so many people have, and yet is so undersolved. So it's a little bit of a strange story.
Fantastic. Anyone else got any questions? You can press the hand at the bottom of the screen, as George has done successfully, just to queue up questions, or put them in notes or the question and answer tool on the right. I think everyone's going to save them to answer or to ask them individual questions after the day. So thank you so much, Oliver. That was really cool.
Thank you.
Now, I'm going to just have a quick word. I wanted to, okay. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about people getting involved later on. If you want to take a bio break or you need to take a rest, then let me know. But we're really keen to get people involved with Xooglers, whether you're a Xoogler or whether you're not a Xoogler. We're really interested in people that can mentor startups, that can help these companies to grow. Oftentimes we have engineers who don't know how to bring products to market, or we have people that are great at sales but haven't got CTOs. If you know people that want to be involved in that or can give a lot of advice, perhaps on the finance side, we're always keen to have speakers come along and do events. We're happy to bring people together and create more community events going forward. So please do reach out to us for that. There's always room for people who want to assist startups, especially if you yourself have done it before. I could say this is where all the pitfalls are. Do please help build this community. It's always going to be good for you as investors. If there's lots of smaller companies starting up, there'll be a more thriving environment. It's actually a great way to see which companies are coming up through the ranks as well. It's a jolly good thing to do, and you'll feel better about yourself if you've helped others too. So come to us if you have any ideas. We know people who want to get involved in the startups. We know people who want to, I suppose, be part of it all. So maybe we'll start an accelerator going forward, but it's a thriving environment. So yeah, definitely come to me and let me know what you can do to assist. We'll be starting up the in-face or face-to-face in real life meetings, probably the last Thursday of the month, as we did before. We haven't done that quite so much because of COVID, but if we can get through this winter without having to wear too many masks, it might be good to actually start doing some of this face-to-face as well, as we all get back to the offices. But of course, just keep coming to these events and do reach out to companies and spend some money on them. They're all worthwhile. These are great people who have worked hard to pull this together and really thrown their lives into it. The companies that we have here, one of the stipulations is that they're one of the founders has to be a Xoogler, someone who has left Google. Also, they need to have left Google, not just doing it in their part-time life, but actually throwing themselves into it. So it's something that people have really felt is going to be an idea that's going to take off, and they're investing their whole life in it. So anything you can do to help, please reach out. Fantastic. Okay, so we will move back into the presentations. We have Daniel Svanova, who is helping us with linking up our community. He has a company called Superlinked. It's a user graph and AI for healthy social networks. So Daniel, are you there?
Yes. Hey, everybody.
Good to see you. I've taken down my slide. You should be able to put yours up.
Excellent. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Daniel, one of the founders of Superlinked, a user AI for healthy social networks. But let's start simple. What happens when you have bullies? Well, ideally, a platform emerges that supports the little kids and makes them stronger together. And those little kids eventually grow up, making the platform a $169 billion success. That's Shopify, by the way, hosting some of the biggest consumer brands and unicorn tier up and comers. All right, so it's about the time somebody did that to these guys. We start by fixing the professional social, but nowadays with a ton of professional content on TikTok, everything kind of is professional social. So the good news, millions of people are leaving LinkedIn, the old social, and they're joining and finding the new home in platforms and communities by the millions. The bad news is that those platforms struggle to engage their users at scale. And this is the key problem in building a sustainable business. Superlinked to the rescue. Our technology helps the new social platforms deliver value to their users by collecting all the user data in one place and infusing the existing experiences with relevance. This drives engagement and therefore revenue. And while we sort out the data in each platform and community separately, we also roll out a unified AI-powered, user-controlled user graph that will make the social network ecosystem as a whole healthier. My co-founder Ben drove partnerships at McKinsey and ScaleUps. I built user models that power YouTube ads. And we have a small team that's shipping. This fall, we are piloting Superlinked with 10 high-end communities, with 50 more in the pipeline, which gives us an immediate access to millions of end users. And by the way, Jenny will recognize the one there in the middle, which is the European branch of the Google alumni group. We are raising £1 million to spin the Superlinked flywheel, which basically starts with us supercharging the high-end communities already in our pilot, which will make it easier to acquire new platforms, which helps us get our hands on more data and make better models and serve those communities even better, continuing the flywheel. So reach out to daniel@superlinked.com and let's make social healthy again.
Fantastic. Thank you, Daniel. Yes, you can see I've printed out your logo above me. I thought it was really cool.
Nice.
Awesome. So we have a question from Amund Tfit. I do usually small amounts of investments and use equity crowdfunding marketplaces. Are these directions in this community? I think this was actually probably for me. Let me see. For the European platform rather than specifically for Superlinked. I'd love to know a little bit more about Superlinked and what your plans are for how this could diversify looking forward, because it's such an incredible tool at the moment. And I know it came out of another tool, but it's simplified things right down, which is great. Where do you see it kind of moving going forward?
Yeah, so I mean, I also have a little story I can share, actually, the way it started, and then I can say where it's going. So in 2018, when I left Google, right, I joined the Google alumni group that's running on Slack, and it's the global one. And I joined, and I thought this will be the most valuable asset that I have. It's going to be awesome. There are all these tech people and founders and investors. And to be honest, it was a bit underwhelming. Like, I kind of joined and stuff wasn't happening. And, that's not surprising because it's running on Slack, and Slack is not useful at delivering relevant experience. You joined it and, okay, what should I do here? And so that was kind of the initial spark. How can we make these communities more engaging, more relevant, faster? And then from there, we work with individual platforms and we help them get together and be stronger, kind of stacking up well against the incumbents that have been in the space for decades and really haven't done much.
Fantastic. I think that answers my question. Thank you so much for coming along to present, and thank you so much for all the work you're doing with us as well to hopefully bring together the community. I hope ours is a really cool showpiece that we can talk about next time and how well this has worked. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny.
Cheers. So Marcin Dimsik is up now to talk about 7 Sense. 7 Sense empowers mobile robots to move into crowded and fast-changing spaces to support humans. Sounds intriguing. So Marcin, I'm all ears.
Yeah, so hello everyone. So my name is Marcin and I will present 7 Sense Robotics, and we built the eyes and brains for mobile robots. So let's start from our motivation. So generally everyone knows the robotics market is booming, but actually building robots is hard. So often robots are not fit for purpose, so they break down in complex environments, in dynamic environments or outdoors. OEMs often struggle to build them right, so top AI expertise is required, and this is really hard to get. And finally, robots simply cost too much, and the ROI is slow. And that's why we came up with a solution. So we basically built our 60+ years of combined robotics experience into a product which is the smartest AI robotics platform. What is special about it is that it's using cameras instead of dated LiDAR technology, so more or less following what also Tesla is proposing. Our unique value for the customers is about basically addressing those problems, which is about the robots won't get stuck or lost. It's about easy use, so touch of a button to set up, reconfigure, deploy, or using smart AI to understand the surroundings and react accordingly. And those quantities also translate to quantifiable benefits for our customers in different industries. So talking about customers, we have first series machines out with our brains and 6 customers with POC pilots, basically key customers from the logistics and material handling market. So talking about the serious machine out, it's an example of Vetrock, which was producing manual cleaning machine. Thanks to us now, it's rolling autonomous cleaning machine to the market. We have a pilot of 30 units, 100 in production, few hundreds more coming. We also have partnerships with top OEMs, logistics, material handling, with paid POCs completed really happily, and pilots either pending or about to set up. The market facts also look very optimistic. So the market is growing quickly with a sum of 27 billion in 2025. And that's an autonomy market for cleaning and material handling vehicles. About our situation, so we have completed Series A more or less now, or are about to complete, and we'll have a runway till 2023. And we are expecting a Series B in mid-2023 of about 25 million. And the goal will be to expand our sales pipeline, especially beyond Europe, with integrators, with distributors, and with partnerships. So who we are? So we are a spin-off of ETH Zurich right now with 23 people. We also have a really interesting mix of advisors in the board, which I would like to mention. It's a mix of corporate experience, of research and innovation experience, as well as ventures experience. So this is really pushing us forward. So if you are interested to get in touch with us for our future Series B, please just drop me a message. Thanks a lot.
Fantastic. Thank you, Martin. I always love to have a robotics company in the mix. It's always something that's of interest, and certainly it's the way forward. How much are you finding the hardware difficult to work with? Is it, I'm assuming this is mostly software that you're developing for the hardware.
Yeah, so we indeed, our focus is on the software, but we do develop hardware. And especially recently with the problems with silicon chips, it's a bit more challenging, but still it's a small element of our offering. So honestly, this didn't affect us too much.
Fantastic. So George has a question. George?
Martin, you mentioned earlier about using the same technology what Tesla is using, Tesla bot. Why you think you would compete with them knowing that they are going in this direction? Thank you.
Yeah, so our market is completely different. I was rather trying maybe to make a parallel to what Elon Musk is often saying about using cameras instead of LiDARs, and we are following in a way a similar trend. So right now in industry or also professional cleaning, basically all robots depend on multiple LiDARs, which cost thousands of dollars. And in our opinion and in our experience, it's just not necessary, and we can do it better.
Overkill. Interesting. Right. Well, I definitely think there'll be people reaching out to you for this. All your contact details are on there, and there's more on notes. Thank you so much for bringing that to us. Have a great day. We now have Dimitra Letza, who is the CEO and founder of a news platform. This is for IT and media professionals with strong diversity and inclusion focus. It's powered by women and called Moonshot. Hi, Dimitra. How are you doing?
Hello, Jenny, and good afternoon. Welcome to Stockholm. I'm very tempted to say that with all these teams from Switzerland, in the Google office in Stockholm, we had a room that said, "We are not Switzerland." So we are Sweden and not Switzerland here. Our diversity and inclusion momentum is here. The imperative need and the business case has led to multimedia investments and a powerful wave of initiatives within the IT, media, and advertising industries. By now, there are thousands of associations and groups globally for women in tech, on boards, in VC, female founders, companies providing diversity services and equality trackers. But what is still missing? A news organization that covers this audience and works as a reference point for the industry. And this is why we launched Moonshot News. Powered by women, strengths and challenges, our mission is to discover and promote news and information about achievements and developments that have an impact on the whole industry. Moonshot News is English-speaking and European-centric, addressing a global market of 70 million professionals and their associations. Our goal is to become the core information hub about women in IT and media and influence the narrative in this industry. We have been live in total 8 months and reached 28,000 unique users without any promotion activities. In October, our projection is to exceed 4,000 UUs. But we need to really grow. If we had 2 million euros to build our team, our product, including an end-to-end AI and automation solution for parts of the production, and our brand, we calculate that we can reach within 36 months 2 million monthly users. And with an average RPU of 4 euros, that would mean an annual revenue of 90 million. Why I can say that and how is the calculation made and what we can really actually promise that is because I have done this before for the biggest companies in the world. I have 25 years experience in the international digital news ecosystem for companies like Google and Microsoft and big European news media. I have a very big and diverse team ready to step in, a part of the small one that is currently working, but I also have a co-founder, an advisor, and a technical advisor also from Google that are safeguarding that we are doing all the right steps and backing me up in every step. If you like what you hear, please get in touch. I would really love to talk about our dream and vision even if you're not interested in the media influence.
Fabulous. Thanks, Dimitra. I enjoyed looking at that. I know so many people have wished you well on LinkedIn. You're so well known in this marketplace. It's a great place to be tackling it. And I haven't really heard of this before. I mean, there's obviously female magazines, but not female news. So yeah, really interesting.
Exactly. Our scope is to be absolutely professional, address everybody in the market, and the same way that we don't think if Politico is male or female. We want to be women first, but not women only, and be an equally big brand in this field. Powered by women. I love it. Thank you so much. All the details will be sent across. I'm sure there's people that focus on publishing as their thesis, and they'll be in touch. Thank you, Dimitra. Super. So Petr Pridl is the CEO and founder of MapTiler. This is a company that builds out software platforms for building digital maps. Now, Petr, I did see you there earlier, so let's see you come up. I think you need to share it slightly differently. It's always complex, even if you've done it 100 times before. Fantastic. That's perfect. All right, off you go. I think you might be on mute.
Thank you very much for having me here. Google Maps is dominating the consumer market for the maps and offers SDKs and APIs for the developers, for other companies to integrate maps with their products. But they do a lot of stuff which is not possible to do by the other companies. For example, if you have a look at the map and somebody else have a look at the map is different. It's not about putting a few pins on top of the map. It's about completely changing what is displayed in the maps because it's personalized. And there's a lot of different things which companies can do with the maps, but unfortunately, Google doesn't allow them to do that. And I believe maps are becoming the new web. They are becoming a communication platform which companies need to control. And it's a way how to present their business logic, their use cases and information to the people where the map fill most part of the screen. That's why we started to work on a MapTiler platform, a publishing platform, B2B, for developers of web and mobile applications. And it's a spin-off of a consulting company with real customers already now. So why? A lot of the companies need to integrate with the maps their own business data, and in the same moment be sure that the map is theirs. It's not something else. They want to integrate the data with the CRM system, information about customers, personalize the maps in colors, fonts, and also content, depending on who is looking at it, ensure the privacy and also save a bit of cost. So if you buy a train ticket in Switzerland or check weather forecast in Germany, if you look for store locations or asset tracking, real estate, agriculture visualizations and other scientific visualizations such as weather flows, this is where we can assist companies in publishing their own maps. Our team prepares street and satellite maps and terrain of the entire world. And in fact, we have tools which you can use on your own business data and fit entire world of data into USB stick like that and deploy it on your own infrastructure or integrate it with the existing open data for the entire world. You can get the data from us as a package of the data or as an API endpoint for consuming directly from our cloud, and even use it offline if you need to. For the developers, we provide a set of APIs and SDKs, which has launched in December under MapLibre brand, and where we cooperate with Amazon, Microsoft, and Facebook developers, and we have active contributions and meetings with those guys. And we have also a set of online tools for designers and people who want to combine the data, their own data, with the maps. Luckily, there is a great traction, so we have quite a lot of customers already acquired and teams building their own applications with more than 350,000 developers already registered. So something what has started in 2017 as a project of 2 students at a Swiss university has now more than 300 million viewers per month So it's quite an amazing result over the short time of existence of the business. We have a strong team composed of different experienced people, PhDs, but also sales and marketing, and existing revenue, which crossed 2 million Swiss francs, or more or less US dollar equivalent in the first year of existence of the company after spin-off from the consulting business. There is no consulting anymore sold. It's box products, which we are selling, and it's through subscriptions, so it's a sustainable revenue. There is pre-seed existence of investment on $250,000, and we may be launching or looking for investment in a few millions for speed up our growth. Swiss government has selected to use our technology for new generation of the beautiful Swiss maps, which you may use in Switzerland if you go hiking. You may see our maps also in TV news in Germany and Australia and Switzerland. And a pretty cool application was the generation of the virtual worlds from our geodata used in games and other virtual environments. So if you are keen to know more, check maptyler.com, and for any interest in investment, contact us please at invest@maptyler.com. Looking forward to hear any questions.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I want to live in that enhanced world that you just displayed there. It looks fantastic. We have a few questions. I think Gerhard Wesp probably knows a little bit about this area. He's got a couple of questions. Do you want me to read them out, or Gerhard, do you want to take yourself off mute and ask them yourself?
Yeah, okay, I'll ask them myself. So obviously you're not alone in the market. There's like Mapbox, OpenStreetMap, and all those players. So what is your USP with respect to them? But I have to say I asked those questions before I saw the last slide, so it looks really amazing. Yeah. So thank you.
We are now the biggest open company because Mapbox has decided to close their stack. So our stack is open source for the SDKs, and that gives us advantage for the developers in the eyes of the developers. And we allow offline hosting of the entire world quite easily. So it's on-prem deployment. I believe in these waves where things are on the cloud and things moves into local deployments now with Docker and the ability to host quite big data on your own in Kubernetes and other clouds. The wave is coming where a lot of companies will have their own maps and reuse the power of having their own maps. And we are exactly at this wave.
Okay,
that's awesome.
And the other question was, so I'm running a small maps application as well. So maybe I switch over. Do you have a free plan? And is the API compatible with the Google Maps API, the JavaScript API?
We have a free plan. You can go to the website. We are using the MapLibre, which is in fact a fork of Mapbox, or started as a fork of Mapbox, and now it's growing. There is no direct compatibility with Google Maps API. But it's relatively easy to migrate, and you get the advantage of the vector tiles, the rotation, the streaming, the technology which is used through Google Maps, but not exposed in the Maps APIs because there are only rasters, pre-baked labels in the images.
Okay, thank you.
Fantastic, thank you. Now, Ross Barry has asked, can you show the logos page again? The page that had logos on it. Do you know which one he means? And whilst you're doing that, George has a quick question. We'll need to be quick so we can move on.
Yes, thank you. Of course, first, congratulations for the bootstrap. I think this is definitely great. The question is, from a 3D mapping and like to the centimeter level positioning, if you think about scape technology, for example, how do you position yourself in the future on this segment?
So the technology itself is able to be very precise in a centimeter precision. Naturally, we don't have this quality of data for the entire world because we are not in position of enough resources to purchase these from the providers. But for local applications, we are able to bring this quality of the data into the stack. So in Switzerland, for example, we have pilots with very high resolution aerial imagery, and even like cadastral maps with centimeter precision in the local coordinate systems. So exactly where you need like centimeter precision for digging into the ground, where are the cables, and for disputes on where is exactly the border between the neighbors and this kind of stuff. So we can do that. It's more that we target a larger market in this moment because it's quite easy to attract the big paying customers if you are global. But the technological stack is usable in this case, and for the high resolution data, and we have applications in the direction as well.
Where do you see your exit? Acquisition?
Perhaps.
Acquire?
Yeah, I mean, we have a really amazing team of engineers being able to process the data. So whoever really wants to have a strong team in the maps can basically get us in the future, perhaps. But we are focusing the business on really growing, and we care about the existing customers and are keen to grow the business naturally, because there is a great potential also to just grow and be the open provider, be the open alternative to Google Maps API and others. And this is a viable long-term business as well, in fact.
Excellent. Congratulations. This is great. Thanks.
Yes, lovely product. Thank you so much, Peder. Thank you for that. We will move on now to Antonia Wolfholz.
Yeah.
Wolfholz.
It's a very tough German name, but you got it right perfectly.
Awesome.
Hi, everyone.
You can introduce yourself.
Oh, no, you go ahead. You go ahead. Oh, sorry.
Antonia is the co-founder and CEO of a SaaS for feedback, performance management, and people development. So like Perf, but better, supercharged. It finally makes reviews fair, easy, and well integrated into your daily work.
Yes. Hi, everyone, again. Like Jenny just said, you all know some sort of performance management, and every performance management and structured feedback process, as we know it, it just doesn't work coming from Google, I can tell you that, and every Xoogler and every Googler alive can also tell you that. On average, managers and employees, they spend over 31 days a year on performance management, and 90% of managers say that they actually dislike how the process is done. And I'd actually like to meet the 10% who say they like it, because I can't really believe them, but that's another story. So that's a lot of time wasted on something that people actually dislike. And if you drill down a bit further, it comes down to these three issues. So it's unbelievably time consuming. It's just way too much cost for too little gain. It's so very unfair and subjective. And it all comes down to whether your manager likes you or not. And it totally disrupts your workflow, because it has nothing to do with your day job, and it's always a standalone process. And that's what we want to change. So with us, there's literally no prep work for a feedback conversation, no surveys, nothing. So it saves time and saves costs. We are absolutely fair, because we send out truly 360-degree microfeedback without any selection bias or manual rating or subjective rating from a manager. So employees can be motivated and happy. And we're integrated perfectly into your workflow. So you actually never have to leave the tools where you actually work. So you can just do that and focus on your work, which is what we think makes a lot of sense in the business world. So let me tell you how this works. We actually detect digital interactions with various integrations. And after an interaction ended, we send out the 360-degree microfeedback request to the participants about each other. And we ask them right where they work, in their chat tool or with a browser push. And we take the data, we calibrate and debias them. And whenever you want to talk about feedback or have a performance conversation, you can just pull these data as a ready-made report, and it gives you development over time, it gives development recommendations, and helps you interpret the results. And all of that with a click of a button. And that's how we think that this is how feedback and perf should be done in this remote hybrid world we live and work in right now. So we're targeting a specific subset of SMEs in UK, US, and DACH, and we have a per seat per month pricing starting from €6. So that makes our TAM 3.7 billion euros. And we're currently in the early access phase. We have 5 customers on the platform since launching in August, and have 150 qualified leads to convert to customers in the next months. We're actually looking for 500K pre-seed right now to fund our market entry. And we're a very experienced team of leaders with over 33 years of people management development experience combined with a very diverse skill set. So if you're ready to make perf great and make it finally work, just get in touch with me to talk about this round or the next. Happy to take any questions.
Fantastic. Thanks, Antonia. There was definitely a lot of time spent on perf. It's a very important thing that needs to happen, but anything that can make it more slick and easier and take up less time is definitely something I think everyone's interested in. Gerhard Vesp, you've raised your hand. Would you like to ask a question?
Please.
Verbally?
Is there any? Do you see any danger that employees in those in the user companies might try to to game the system, like use certain strategies to obtain positive feedback? Because as I understand it, or then correct me if I'm wrong, the platform is like locking onto like everyday interactions on the workplace, and people might figure out how it works and then influence the results.
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and one we spend a lot of time thinking about. So we have several fail-safe methods in place to prevent that. It would be too much detail to go into this right now, so we can take this up further later. But what we actually do is that we report constantly how your radar profile is, and we take the radar profile into account when actually giving out ratings and calculating everything. And we have a lot of tools in place to ensure high user engagement paired with high quality feedback, which means for us that it's always along the full radar scale that we hand out, and that it's a balanced view where it, in our opinion, cannot really be gamed because of the way we asked for it.
Fabulous, thank you. I think George has a quick question. You'll need to make this one quick, George.
Yes, quick. I think it's a big challenge specifically to address politics in large corporation, because that's part of the ecosystem. How do you make sure that when I put my feedback, nobody is seeing it, or my manager anyway has access to everyone's feedback?
Yeah, so our feedback is anonymous by design because it's truly 360, and we believe that especially in larger and more political organizations, it's super important to give absolute anonymity to allow people to give also critical upward feedback. The way we do it is that you're the owner of your own development. So only you have access to your development curve at all times. And when your manager wants to have a feedback conversation, they can pull the report, which is then automatically also sent to you. So you have full transparency about who is looking at your data. You are the owner of your development, so you can decide if you want to share these reports with anyone but your manager, but that is entirely in your hands, because we believe one thing that is not working in perf right now is transparency about what our expectations and who is looking at the data, and that people feel out of touch with being the owner of their development. So this is what we want to do, actually.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Antonia. That was really well presented. And yes, please get some investment, because that's definitely an area for much need. Okay, we have Daniel Jasmine coming next. This is our final startup that we'll be presenting. He is the founder and CEO of SGen, which is an online solution. This is specifically designed to make the ESG, which is environmental, societal, and governance areas, simple and meaningful for SMEs and startups.
Thanks, Jenny. Hey, how's it going? Hey, everyone. Right, so it's been a long one, so I'll try to keep this brief so everybody will enjoy it. Right, so we've launched SGen about 5 months ago. We are unlocking the value of ESG for SMEs in hours and not weeks. We already heard multiple companies talk about the kind of the importance of sustainability, the importance of ESG as a term for our overall economy, for our well-being. And our mission is really to try to get startups and SMEs involved in this problem. Right now, ESG, sustainability reporting, corporate social responsibility is exclusively within the realm of large corporates. But unfortunately, SMEs and startups, which is the most innovative part of the economy, compose about 50% of the economy. So we're not going to be solving any burning questions about equality or the environment if we really don't get those players part of the game. Just a little bit of a summary. We aim to be the QuickBooks of ESG. We help SMEs account and audit all of their non-financial metrics so they can make better informed decisions within the business. We are a technology science-based company, and we developed a proprietary technology and methodology which allows us to do this at scale, at quick. I'm not going to go into the details of how it works, but it's developed as part of a PhD project. It's already recognized by the British Business Bank, and we are already kind of up and running. As I said, we're only 5 months through. We have raised 140 SEIS. We've actually just closed this. But for those of you interested, specifically VCs, which is specifically our go-to market, we are signing up VCs as a warrant to get a discount in our next round. Our goal is to get to about 100 paying clients within the next 5 months or so, which will put us at $250,000 annualized revenue. So a little bit about the team. Some of you may have recognized my previous company on the starting slides that Jenny presented. This will be my third business. I've already sold a business called DeskFair in 2019. I've exited my other business, Flatfair, at the beginning of this year. In total, we've grew the Flatfair business into 70 employee, double-digit million in revenue, and we've raised just over $20 million from the best and largest VCs in the world, including Index Venture. My other corporates in here, Mark is the brain and kind of the PhD doctorate behind the methodology and the process, and Nick is our director of audits, who actually help us execute the final product. So for those of you who don't know what ESG is, it's a very kind of convoluted terms, environmental, social governance. It's basically a new way of accounting what is the impact companies have while running the operation. In other words, we can look at two companies that could be the same from a revenue, from a margin perspective, but one is incredibly polluting, is incredibly destructive to the social ecosystems it's operate, and the other one isn't. Surely we're valuing the other one more than we're valuing the first one. And ESG is here to stay. So we all know about the ugly cousin of ESG. It's called corporate social responsibility. It's basically a methodology of legitimizing bad business practices, where ESG sort of removes the narrative and just puts facts to figures, which are, this is how much we're emitting from a CO2 perspective, this is how much we are supporting our staff, and from a governance perspective, this is how many times we've been sued this year because of bad business practices. And some of you may already know about other initiatives like B Corp, but really, you can't take open-ended question and metrics them when you are deciding whether you want to invest in company A or company B. So really, we need kind of a more standardized and palatable approach to evaluating those businesses, and that's what we've done. What's driving ESG? Lots of things, a flurry of regulation across Europe. Not going to go into this. SFDR, Scope 1, 2, 3, EU taxonomy. It's out there. It's heavy, and it's going to make transition within the businesses. There's loads of peer pressures. So it could be your employees are starting to ask, what are you doing about your pay gaps, diversity, and so on. And it could be also your investors who are looking to enhance their reports with sustainable reporting and so on. And if that's not enough, sustainable businesses are generally more profitable and have longer longevity than their unsustainable cousins. As I've mentioned, we're already post-revenue. We've got more than 30 audits completed already with really cool brands and really cool businesses. We've got more in the pipeline, and we are signing up VCs to sort of help us distribute this. So we're helping VCs assess their own portfolio from an ESG perspective at scale. We already featured in the news on a number of places, and these are my contact details. If anybody wants to get in touch, we are here to start the conversation and to see whether there is room to participate in our next round, which is due at the end of Q1 next year. There is a more comprehensive deck on the link provided, but I'll be happy to be in touch with any of you if anyone is interested to learn more about the subject. Thank you very much. And if anybody has any question, happy to take them.
We do have a question there from Yulia Tudor. What's the MRR?
So MRR at the moment, so we're calculating our fees on an annual basis. So you pay the fee, and we expect a pretty sticky relationship, because once you've generated one set of values, you would want to track them year on year, and therefore stay with the same provider to help you track the values for the following year to see your progression. At the moment, our pricing is based on size of a company, which is determined on the number of employees. And so far, we've got just over 30 paying clients. We're bootstrapped to this point, and we just raised this money to help us launch our first product, which is going to be the freemium self-assessment, followed by an audit wizard, which is essentially our first step to digitizing the audit process for companies.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Daniel. That was a great one to end on. You've obviously done this before, and I hope this one will be as large a success. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for bearing with us through all of them. They're all incredible companies. I want to invest in all of them if I possibly could. You know, whether it's electric bikes or robots or news powered by women, they're all incredible companies, and they're full of energy and really want to take off. So if you can look at the financial aspects or the smart money, where you're coming in and actually helping them to build their tech stack or help them with their go-to-market strategy, please do get in contact. I'm just putting my email in notes there. If anyone wants to be contacted or put in contact with any of the teams, I'm really happy to hook everybody up. Or if you have any further questions or suggestions on how to make these demo days more interesting, more inspiring, or just different. We will hopefully be doing our next one in Q1. So we're looking for the next ream of companies. We'll keep you updated with what's happened with these ones as well. Later on today, I'll be pulling together the brochure of all the slides so that you'll be able to see them from all the companies. We will also have the YouTube video of this event, so you can run through it if you want to check anything again, or if you know people that should be seeing these. Quite often those people that we haven't contacted or didn't know about this, please do send the video on so that we get maximum exposure. And everyone's contact details will be on that, so you'll be able to reach out. Thank you, everyone, for all your hard work, particularly the companies, and for everyone that's helped to pull this together. It's always great fun, always a mountain to try and overcome, but so wonderful to see everything run so smoothly. Thank you for your help. Thank you for your support, and see you next time.